Barrett Brooks won a Super Bowl with the Pittsburgh Steelers, drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles. NBC Sports Philadelphia Eagles pre- and post-game live. I was fearful of your life last night. I saw a lightning bolt right over your head.
It was crazy out there. I'm talking in a half an hour period, man. We went from it being hot as hell and to just black with lightning everywhere around us. We had to cut the show short, man, to get out of there, man. We had to run for cover.
I was watching, man, and I saw Barkan. He looked like he was petrified. He was like, let's go to break and get the hell out of here.
Yeah, he didn't play that at all, man. In fact, he was making them look. He was letting them know, hey, it's time to roll. It's time to go.
I know you and I were on the same wavelength. My score wasn't quite as high as yours, but I thought Atlanta looked like a team, that this is a playoff team. They went to the Super Bowl. They lost a tough game in the playoff. They return a lot of the same guys. No injuries. I just felt that they would be gelling much better than this Eagles team. What does it tell you about this Eagles team that they were able to pull out a win against a team that most people think is pretty darn good, man?
Well, you look at it, this team is the definite definition of the sum of all parts. I mean, it's not really a superstar that's really taking over on the offensive side of the ball. And then on defense, man, it's by committee. Everybody goes out and makes a great play. Chris Long played out of his mind yesterday. I had 1.5 sacks, tackles for loss, hit the quarterback all night. He played like a madman yesterday. And another guy I got to give kudos to who just turned his game completely around, Ronald Darby, man. He played lights out yesterday. Even though he was giving too much receivers too much for cushion, he had the speed and the reaction time to really go back and break up passes. He played phenomenal yesterday.
Yeah, and I know the defense is going to get Bradham back, and this defensive front should have their legs under them a little bit better as this season goes on. We're looking at a defense that is scary, Barrett. I mean, they're probably going to be a better unit than we saw last year, who, at times last year, the defense really carried that team last season.
No question. It's almost like pick your poison. You try to throw the ball, they have them horses up front that'll stop them. Then if you try to, pass the ball, we got good enough players on the outside that they make things really hard on you. We have some physical corners, man, a lot more physical than I really thought they were going to. I mean, even the young guys are coming up and really making plays, man. So as far as total defense, the only thing that I think we really lack is the linebackers that you would say will be those big name linebackers. We don't have that. We have guys who go out there and play well together. I mean, Gurgel Hill stepped up. Gary stepped up. These are guys, that are penciled in to be starters for us now that play well enough for us to win a huge game against a really talented offense. And, just from looking at it, I mean, with Campbell and the rest of those guys in the backfield and, the receivers that they had, they should have been really outmatched, but they played very, very well, especially towards the end of the game.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the receiving situation moving forward for Philly now. Foles was average last night, nothing special, but didn't have Alshon. Ertz, I thought, struggled a bit with some drops. Goddard had a drop, but it looks like that Alshon has kind of admitted he's going to miss a few more weeks. Do they have enough weapons to get through the next couple of weeks here? Are you concerned that teams are going to start watching this team on film and figure out ways to kind of clamp down and make Foles, beat them?
Well, I think they will be all right. Just looking at what I saw last night, we're so far out of sync. We just haven't played well together, and I think that's a big deal. That goes a long way in where we are in our progression as an offense. These guys don't have the timing right amongst each other. And what I saw yesterday was a receiver that turned into a number one receiver yesterday, even though he didn't have the amount of yards we need in Nelson Agholor. He didn't have enough, yardage, but he had 8 catches. I mean, catches. Let me say it again, catches. They weren't drops. And we talked about him dropping, the year before, and then last year, he stepped it up and really showed that he could be a really good receiver. Now he catches everything. It's only going to take him a little bit to really get the timing down with the quarterbacks. He could be a major force for this team. So Nelson Agholor sees this money that they're throwing out there, and I think he's going to take his game to another level. So I think they'll be fine at the receiver position. They have guys that can step up. And, when Alshon Jeffrey does come back, it's just one more feather in their cap that they can use, that somebody's going to have to get bracketed, somebody's going to have a one-on-one, and whoever the one-on-one guy has to make a play, and they have the guys to make those type of plays.
Hey, Barrett, this is Ryan. I want you to talk more specifically on the offensive line and Jason Peters. A lot of question marks with Jason Peters going into that game. Is he going to be his old self? Is his age going to show, or the injury's going to take a toll? But talk about Jason Peters and the offensive line and their performance last night.
Well, I mean, I told people yesterday, and I've been screaming for it all week. They're saying, "Well, Jason Peters come back. How is he going to come back? You know, his timing going to be off?" You know, this guy has practiced every single practice during the training camp. He was there practicing with him, so he just didn't play in the games. So I knew he would be fine. Him and Wiz took reps together the whole entire camp. So I knew that they would be in sync. I knew that they'd be able to go out there and make calls. But as far as him playing, he's as quick as I've ever seen him. He's explosive. It looks like he got a little meaner. He was decapitating people. He was punching people, knocking them down. He was explosive. He was playing quick. You tell me if you saw somebody lose a step. In fact, I feel like he gained a couple more steps. Not just one, but a couple more steps in this game.
He looks
really
younger, man.
Playing great. Oh, yes, he did. He looks great out there, man.
And the fact that he hadn't played all in the preseason, and it was hot last night, man. I figured he would. I figured he would at least need a couple of series here and there just to take a seat.
He had sleeves on. It's hot out there. He had sleeves on. So that just goes to show he's in shape. He's ready to rock and roll. I saw it during camp that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I knew, going into this game that you didn't have to worry about JP. JP's going to be there, and you could tell it was a lot more calm in the huddle, a lot more, of a cool feeling with Foles understanding that he has the best left tackle in the league protecting his blind side. So he wasn't worried about that at all.
Barrett, talk about the running back by committee approach and what you saw last night. I'm getting a lot of different people telling me, not enough Ajayi early on in the game. You got to give him the ball more. Too much Sproles. Where's Clement? He didn't get a ton of carries. I mean, talk about what you saw last night, how Doug Peterson managed that, and what your thoughts are on the running back by committee moving forward.
We'll never have that bell cow. These guys are not really put on a pitch count, but what they do, they have specific plays that are tailored to their skill set. They know what plays they want those guys to play, and how they customize it to what their skill set is. If you watch it, watch from yesterday, Ajayi ran plays that were straight up and down, going downhill. He ran a lot of tackle trap type of plays, quick hitting plays with traps, plays that'll just get him going north to south, not going east and west. Get the ball down and just, and go from there. If you look at when you had Sproles ran a lot of plays that used his skill set as far as misdirection. They would get everybody going one way and he'd cut back going another way, or they'd pull somebody from the opposite direction, have him follow him, and then cut back. Those are plays in which, you can get lost in all the people running around, and he specializes in that because he's so quick and so small and explosive, he can get in there and make a play. Corey Clement, he's a guy that does it all good, but, they want stuff that's going to get him, right on the outside and have him use his speed to be, more of a showcase than anything else. So they like to customize their games to the plays they like to put out there, and I think that's the biggest thing. So it really depends on what they're trying to do to the defense on which back is going to be out there.
Barrett Brooks with us, NBC Sports Philadelphia. Of course, Eagles pre- and post-game live. You can see him on Quick Slants as well. I want to get your take on the importance of that game, even though it's week one, that, I kept mentioning that, hey, it's not a must-win game. If you lose that game, you still have a shot to make the playoffs. It's not a must-win situation. But how important it is for the home field. In today's game, we saw the Eagles last year. If they didn't have home field advantage, they might not win that game against Atlanta last year. So to get that game and have a leg up in the home field, I thought was a big picture win for them.
You can't downplay the importance of that win. In fact, I'm not going to lie. I must muster up enough to know that I was wrong. I really thought that this would be a tough game for this Eagles team to win, and I actually picked the Atlanta Falcons to win the game because they didn't have the injuries that this Eagles team had, and that was the only reason why. I knew there would be no question of heart of them going out there and fighting, but I just didn't think they have enough horses in the race for them to win the game. Well, they proved me wrong, and I'm so glad they proved me wrong. This team is so resilient, that when I say that they're sum of all parts, if one aspect of the team isn't playing right, they got guys that can go out there and pick it up. If one guy, needs somebody to help him out, they have guys that'll go help him out. This team is the true definition of a team, well balanced. And for them to go out and win this game, in which a game that I didn't think they were going to win, it just moves them that closer, like the tiebreakers and things of that nature. So I had them at 11-5 going, getting into the playoffs and going deep into the playoffs. Well, at this point, this is one of those five. So you could kind of put another win in that winning column and make it 12-4. So they are playing well above the expectations I thought they would, especially without Carson. That's the biggest factor. They don't have our main weapon, Carson, on the field, and Nick Foles did just enough to pull us out a win, man. So these guys are going to be good, very, very good, especially when they get together as a whole unit, and also just get the timing out of just playing together. That's one of the things I think that this new CBA got wrong. They just don't give these guys enough time to mold themselves and play together enough to go out there and play good football in the beginning of the year. You're going to see a lot of sloppy games on Sunday. They didn't play enough in the preseason to really get that camaraderie they needed playing with each other, that timing they needed. So, this is a dangerous team, a very dangerous team.
I agree. A big picture win for the Eagles. The battle for home field is going to be a crowded house. To get one versus a team that many think will be in that mix, I thought was very key. I have a feeling in this year's NFC there's going to be a lot of tie-breaking scenarios, and you got one
question.
up. Yeah, and you got one up on the Atlanta Falcons. Barrett Brooks, great work on NBC Sports Philadelphia pre- and post-game live. Quick slants. Every night at 6 o'clock, you can check out BB. And, of course, on Mondays throughout the year, we'll be doing Barrett's breakdowns right here
3 o'clock,
on
baby.
the Sports
Monday.
Cast. You got it, brother. We'll talk to you, pal. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.